Hello everyone. On May 16th, there's going to be a total lunar eclipse, a full moon with a lunar eclipse. And I'm going to talk about it for the London chart because the sun and the moon are right on the angles, on the ascendant descendant angles. So you won't be able to actually observe what's happening because as the sun is coming up, the moon is going down. Unfortunately, it won't be visible from Europe. So at the same time, it is quite interesting. It has a number of fascinating features. So let's take a look at it very quickly. First of all, this is still the star series 6 North. It belongs to that. And according to Bernadette Brady, I got this from her book, The Eagle and the Lark. This family of eclipses is concerned with the individual's relationship to father figures, authority figures, or the need to take responsibility and control. If you look around, this is exactly what's happening. Everyone is trying to take responsibility and control, put the blame on someone else and take control. This is a time to accept the commitments that are presented, commitments which could occur due to another person's illness or another person's unreliability. This is exactly what's happening in the world. To me, it is fascinating to watch how the whole world is going mad, especially European leaders. I don't understand why they don't see the equation, why they don't see that if we shoot ourselves in the foot and decide not to buy Russian oil and gas anymore and try to get it from somewhere else. First of all, how is this compatible with the so-called green agenda? Are we not going to be green anymore? Without oil and gas, Europe goes broke. Without oil and gas, European economy is going to be shattered. Not to speak about the immense suffering that the ordinary people are going to go through. If you consider what's happening really, if you put it into perspective, we spent the last almost 2.5, almost 3 years with the COVID bullshit, excuse my language. It wasn't as successful as they planned because we are still alive. Most of us are still alive and most of us could see through the whole thing, the whole agenda. Now they have started a new war, of course, and besides the war, which is bad enough in itself, and again, there is no reason whatsoever to make war. There's no reason whatsoever to start killing each other. I'm absolutely against war in any form. But during the war, the European leaders went mad. They started to create sanctions, which are only bad for the Europeans, not for the Russians. And the more again, nobody speaks about peace. Everyone is sending more arms to Ukraine. How is this going to have the war? How is this going to stop the war? No one talks about peace. No one wants peace, really, are the big players. The weapons industry is booming. Okay, everyone is buying new weapons. It's ridiculous. People wake up. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, that's exactly what's happening. Okay, so between the two eclipses, between this solar eclipse 2 weeks ago and this upcoming lunar eclipse, that is when the madness escalated. And that's exactly what this family of eclipses is about. This is the London chart. The London exact moment is at 5:14 a.m. So here you see the sun is rising and the moon is setting. The sun is at the midpoint of the North Node Sedna. And the North Node is our chosen destiny, and Sedna is about dissection, creation through dissection. We need to dissect what's not working in our world and redo it in a more workable, more plausible way in order to accept our destiny. And the sun is highlighting both. And of course, it's joining. In the London chart, you have Pluto on the midheaven, and Pluto is major complete transformation. You still have the Saturn Vesta conjunction. You will see that I left out Vesta from the configuration simply because it is a bit too wide. But make sure you remember that Saturn Vesta is about oaths and promises, old and new promises and oaths, and that's exactly again what's happening. And Saturn is exactly squaring the Sun-Moon opposition. So there's this configuration here. There's an exact Mars-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. I call this the Holy Grail aspect, or the Grail Knight aspect, because Mars is of course your sword, or your fighting ability, your aggression, and Neptune is overshadowing everything enveloping into a pink fog. So on the one hand, it denotes someone or a situation where you're poking in fog. And on the other hand, it means that I am giving my life or for a quest or for a beautiful idea. That's exactly what's happening. There's also an exact Chiron-Venus conjunction. Judy Hall, my master, called Chiron-Venus, she translated Chiron-Venus as love hurts. And she said this for a couple of years, and then on one of the our famous Glastonbury retreats, which we all loved and went to at least for 12 years, 10 years for sure. I asked her, okay, fine, love hurts. I know love hurts, but can't we label this planetary combination as something nicer or better, please? And then she looked at me and she said, okay, love needs to be perfect. No, love needs to be healing. Love also has healing properties. She said something like that. So love hurts, but also love heals. Remember this, because the Chiron-Venus conjunction is ruled by Mars, and it's also in a very interesting configuration, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Then you also have one more thing here, the Ceres dark moon, black moon Lilith conjunction. This is black moon. And this is interesting because Ceres is the nurturing principle, and Lilith in many respects is the anti-mother or the anti-mothering force. So here they need to either fight or work together or learn to reconcile things. I think that's mainly it. One more thing, Jupiter just entered Aries. I didn't make a separate video on just that because it happens many times, I mean, every 12 years, but also it's not its final dwelling place because it goes in, it just went into Aries, and then it will go back to Pisces and then spend almost half a year there, and then goes way back into Aries the next year, sometimes this year in December, but it's not really so relevant. But by the time, I mean, if we consider that Jupiter blows up everything it touches, and the war is ruled by Aries, wait until Mars is entering Aries as well, I have a hunch that the war will be escalating. Okay, so it's not that's not a good news, not a good piece of news. Okay, let's take a look at this very complex planetary picture that occurs at 23 to 25 degrees of the signs. As you can see, I left here out Vesta already because Vesta is at 27 degrees, so it's there, but it doesn't play any important role in the configuration itself, in the planetary picture itself, but we still remember that there is still a Saturn Vesta conjunction going ahead. So this is what you have. You do have a fixed T-square involving the Sun, the Moon, and Saturn at 25 degrees, exactly 25 degrees. And there's also, in the London chart, there's also a cardinal T-square with midheaven, IC, and Eris. Eris drastically altered outward circumstances, which is also ruled by Mars. It has been ruled by Mars for the last 80 years, so 80 overall. It's going to be ruled for 100 years. So that is why the 20th century was so horrible. And as I look at the 21st century, it's not so much better either. Anyhow, there's also a crown. I'm going to show you this in separately, but this is what you have: the angles, which make a mystic rectangle, and the tip of the crown is Neptune, our our wishes, our hopes and wishes. And of course, there's also, I'm going to show you the butterfly configuration. This is something I named, gave a new name. And also there's also a harmony triangle here with the midheaven and ascendant sun and Neptune. So those are the main configurations in this complex planetary picture. And if we take this apart, then this is what we have. On the north node, not on the sun, because I only give these 1 degree, sometimes 1.5 degree, but of course the sun is highlighting them. It's very important to understand that whenever the sun or the moon are not exactly conjunct something, but 3, 4, even 5 degrees away from any kind of configuration, then they even have a much bigger highlighting, illuminating effect. If they are there, if they are spot on conjunct, like, or spot on taking part in the configuration, like with the Saturn, Sun, Moon fixed T-square. Those are closing, so that is there. Then this illumination is not so prominent. It's still there, but the fact that they are physically within the configuration is more important. But when they are a little bit far apart, it's like when you don't take part in a fight or in a discussion, you are just watching it, observing it. And of course, both the sun and the moon are highlighting because they have illuminating powers. So on the north node, you find Pelion, which is which represents the hill or the mountain where the caves of the centaurs are. And we usually delineate it in two ways. Number one is it represents the mountain of life that we need to climb in order to succeed. So it's a lot of energy and effort and hard work and climbing up, this whole idea. But also, since the caves are there for the centaurs, so there's their home, it also means that your homeland is important, your own home, your house, your nation, and our home, Europe, which is just being ripped apart in more than one ways. There's Aten, the sun disk, so it gives another sun energy and an added sun energy to the picture. Phaethon, who according to the myths was Helios's son, illegitimate son, who once steals Helios's chariot and causes a big problem because that is this description really a metaphor to Vela cataclysm. So there's a cataclysm going on, and that's exactly it. I mean, we are trying to go back to the Middle Ages. Don't eat, don't cook, don't heat your home, don't drive a car, don't use modern utilities because they cost a lot and you won't be able to pay for them. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is really, truly ridiculous. Okay, there's Achilles, our vulnerability, also Victoria, so there's hope for victory. On the descendant, you have the moon and karma. And of course, the south node as well. But as I said, south node here is illuminated. On the IC, you have Neith, who was the proto-goddess, the main creator goddess for Egyptians before they had this multi-dimensional, many, polytheistic vision. They used to have also a creator goddess. So that's in the roots of this chart. And Procyon, which is Alpha Canis Minor, a very bright star. It gives us the roots. The whole okay, the two dogs. This is the little dog. The big dog is with Sirius, okay, and Procyon is behind the big dog, and usually it denotes things that are shining up very brightly, but at the same time, no matter how brightly you shine, you are overpowered by something else, by something bigger and brighter. That's how I usually interpret it. On Neptune, which is really the apex of this whole configuration, you have Okiro. You may remember that she's the daughter of Chariklo, and Chiron, and she inherits the special traits from both parents, but so she becomes an oracle, but she's constantly punished by the fates because she blurts out things that she's not supposed to. And in order to avoid further punishment, she simply turns herself back into a horse and forgets to speak. And in this way, she can't make any problem. So it usually denotes either someone who is hiding its abilities, or this is really a double hiding energy because there's Neptune, the pink fog, and at the same time, Okiro is also some sort of not secret, but things are not what they are, and things are not what they are, what they look like. And you have Sphinx, which is the secret, and you have Merlin, of course, which is some sort of magic, okay, ancient magic involved. And then on Aries, you have Niobe and Pan, two sad, as far as Niobe or Niobe is denotes children's death, okay, and big loss and grief, deep grief. And Pan has two meanings. Pan means everything, but also means deep hurt and deep fear, okay. Panic comes from its name. So that is the complex planetary picture. And if we take this apart, and I put in Mars here because it's not yet at 25 degrees, but it's going to be exact with the conjunction between Mars and Neptune is going to be exact within a week or so, maybe 10 days. So it earned its position here because this is an applying conjunction. As you see, this crown is made of the Sun-Moon opposition on the ascendant, descendant, the other angle, IC, MC, and at the apex, you have Mars-Neptune, the Mars-Neptune conjunction. So that is the crown energy, the holy night or grail night energy. And there's also a butterfly. You may remember when we go back to the original complex planetary picture, I told you that this is something that I'm going to show you separately. And here it is, the butterfly at 25 degrees. I named this as butterfly. I'm trying to play around with names, all sorts of names, but this is what you have. You do have a harmony triangle. So the Mars-Neptune conjunction actually forms a harmony triangle with the angles, ascendant and midheaven. And on those portions of sextiles, you will have two angel wings. You also have a mini trapeze. This particular mini trapeze has a trine at its base. It has two squares, a fixed and a cardinal square as its inner energy. And on the top, you have the Saturn Aries sextile. And Saturn Aries, as the top of the stage, is about how we can persevere, endure under drastically altered outward circumstances. And if you take a look at what else is happening here, the butterfly itself is made up by a harmony triangle and two little angel wings. The first angel wing is Sun, Aries, Mars, Neptune, and the other one is Mars, Neptune, Saturn, and midheaven. So it's very interesting because we also have a butterfly in the Budapest chart with different angles, but there the angles are also at 15 degrees. So we have the butterfly as well. And the butterfly is the symbol of survival, of rebirth, of the soul coming into life again. So that's quite fascinating to me. Okay. And yes, you can tell that the energy is somehow turning. So the flavor of the war, people are getting angry. People are getting angry. They tell us, okay, make peace and not war, and do something about us. Our lives is important, and not your weapons and not your weapon business. That's the flavor of how the tide is turning. Anyhow, there's also a boomerang at 14, 15 degrees of the signs. And the boomerang is valid anywhere. So anywhere you are, this boomerang will be there for the eclipse chart. And this boomerang has an opposition in the middle with Chiron Venus. Love hurts and love needs to be a healing energy. Opposite dark moon Lilith, which is the acceptance of the curse. The dark moon Lilith is actually the apex of this configuration, and the anchor point is Venus Chiron. And the inner sextile is made by Astrea in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus. The Uranus-Astrea sextile is beautiful because it means two changing planets, two planets that are archetypes for change and for karma breaking, destiny changing. On the one hand, with Astrea and with Uranus, drastic changes, revolt against all sort of negative energy. So this sextile gives us hope. Let's take a look. And of course, by the way, boomerangs are the most karmic configurations there is, because it can jump into, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, the boomerang is going to hit you instead of the enemy. Okay, here are the transcendental celestial objects linked to this particular placement or this particular configuration. On Uranus, you have two fixed stars still, Menkar and Almach. Menkar is Alpha Cetus and Almach is Gamma Andromeda. Here again, you can see that Menkar is less bright than Almach, which is a Gamma star. But Andromeda is a very bright constellation, and Cetus is less. You can see the difference. On the Venus-Chiron conjunction, you have Urania, which was the muse of astrology and astronomy, and Alpha's, which is the Alpha Andromeda healing world for suicide victims. Here you can see that Andromeda is Alpha with 2.2, and Cetus is also Alpha with 2.8 magnitude. So again, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta only shows you the brightness within the constellation, but not the absolute brightness that is given by the magnitude. And then on Astrea, you have Hermes, Nemesis, and Ahernar. Hermes is the god of mischief and bright ideas and movement. Nemesis is the punisher of hubris. She was a goddess who punished those who were very much against the will of the gods. So we have hope again. And Ahernar is the Alpha star and the brightest star of Alpha. It is Alpha Eridanus. It's the brightest star of the constellation Eridanus, which is one of the biggest, largest constellations in the sky. It starts around the celestial equator and goes all the way down to the South Pole, and it represents a journey when you are leaving behind your equilibrium, your balance, your nice little cozy life, and start on a journey, on a quest, and put lots of energy and effort. It's a long quest, it's a long journey, but in the end, you're reaching your biggest potential, your greatest potential, your brightest chances to make something, to create something. So that's it. You can see that it is a very interesting moment in time. The two eclipses for SARS Series 6 clearly describe the space-time moment, okay? The madness that is happening, I don't know when it's going to end. I really don't know what is necessary for the world to realize that we are nearing some total catastrophe, which we could, we could live so well. We could live in peace and harmony. We have so much. We have so much to lose. And I really hope that you, on your side, on your level, can do something that this madness, this horrible upheaval of balance can be restored. I will do everything in my power, and I wish you good luck to do everything at your end. Thank you for listening.